This ain't no inn. You'll have to go someplace else." But before the man could slam the door shut, Sarah called out, "Goel sent us. He said you'd take us in." "Goel? Well, that's different." He stared at them for a moment, then shrugged and stepped aside. "You'd better come in out of the wet," he called out. "Matilda, we have guests. Guests from Goel." Eagerly, the young people entered the room and stood making puddles on the floor. That seemed not to trouble their host, however. He said, "You'd better get out of them wet clothes." He peered at them once again and asked, "You say it was Goel who sent you?" "Yes," Josh said eagerly. "He told us to wait here, that he'd come to us at your house. You are Crinan, aren't you?" "Aye, I be Crinan." He turned away. "Matilda, take these girls to their room, and I'll take these young fellows to the attic." The woman with merry blue eyes led Sarah and Abigail to a small room attached to the back of the house. "It ain't much," she said, "but at least you can get out of them wet clothes, and I'll fix you something to eat." "Oh, thank you," Sarah said warmly, and as soon as the woman left, she began unpacking her knapsack. "It's a good thing we wrapped our clothes in oilcloth, or we wouldn't have anything dry to put on." "Well, I don't have anything fit to wear anyway." Abigail Roberts was a year younger than Sarah, and much prettier. At least some thought so. She had blue eyes, blonde hair, and a small, graceful figure. Now, as she looked at the garment that had been wrapped in the oilcloth, she frowned in disgust. "This is the ugliest dress I've ever seen. At least it's dry." Sarah put on her own dress, one much like Abigail's, and the two of them picked up their wet clothes. "Let's go by the fire. I hope they have something good to eat." Crinan led Josh and the other boys up a ladder into the attic. The boys quickly saw that it was a neat room with a ceiling that sloped to a peak. There were only 2 beds. Reb said, "Looks like some of us will have to bunk on the floor." "Oh, we've got plenty of bedding," Crinan said. "You can stripe them clothes off, and I'll go see if Matilda has something for you to eat." As soon as Crinan had disappeared, the boys began eagerly changing their clothes. "I don't know how we're ever going to get these dry," Jake complained, wringing out his shirt. He watched it drip on the floor. "Maybe we can take turns putting them in front of the fireplace." The smallest member of the group, Wash, was a black boy of 12. He moved quickly and soon had on dry clothing. Then he stood watching the others. Glancing toward the opening that led from the loft, he said, "I hope they've got something to eat. My stomach feels like my throat's been cut." "Mine too," Reb said. He looked over at Josh. "How long you think we'll have to wait here?" Josh was pulling a warm brown sweater over his head. "I don't know. Goel didn't say. But I hope it won't be too long, because it's going to be pretty crowded in here." "Well now, let's go down and see if Miss Matilda has cooked up some victuals." Reb grinned and led the way down the ladder. Everybody gathered in front of the huge fireplace. Soon the 2 girls joined them, and they stood greedily soaking up the heat. 30 minutes later, they were seated at a large wooden table, wolfing down steaming bowls of what appeared to be beef stew. "This is good, ma'am," Reb exclaimed. "I don't guess you got any grits to go with it? Or hog jowl?" Matilda paused from her task of stirring the stew and refilling Josh's bowl. "Grits? Hog jowl? No, we don't have any of that. This is just deer stew." "Well, it's good, whatever it is," Josh said. "And being here sure beats sleeping out in the mud, doesn't it?" He devoured his stew eagerly. Soon all of them were pleasantly satisfied. Then they sat around the fire, and its warmth began to make Josh, at least, very sleepy. Crinan came to look at them. He cocked his head to one side. "Would you be telling me where you come from?" Josh opened his mouth to answer, then a thought came to him, and he closed it. Sarah must have guessed what was on his mind. "Well," she said carefully, "if you mean where we just came from, that would be the Kingdom of Atlantis." Crinan stared. "Why, that's under the ocean. You couldn't live in a place like that. Only mere men and mere women live there." Sarah shook her head. "I'm afraid you're mistaken about that. Goel sent us there to do something for him, and now that it's done, he told us to come here." Crinan looked at them incredulously. He scratched his head. "People living under the sea. If that don't beat all. And now you be going somewhere else?" "Yes," Sarah said.